Berengaria of Castile, known also as Berengaria the Great, was Queen-Regnant of Castile and queen-consort of Leon. After she and her husband separated against her will, Berengaria rose to become a queen in her own right. She was born in 1179 or 1180 to Alfonso VIII of Castile and Eleanor of England. Her mother was the sister of King John of England. Berengaria was the eldest daughter, and all would be queens except the youngest, who became a nun. Berengaria was the older sister of Blanche of Castile, whom you can learn more about in my video on her. Though Berengaria had 11 siblings, most did not survive to adulthood, and her father's only male heir was a young son named Henry. As Henry did not yet have any children, Berengaria, being his eldest sister, would be his heir presumptive when he came to the throne. That made her a very attractive bride, and she was initially married to Conrad II, Duke of Swabia, the fifth son of the Holy Roman Emperor, when she was 7 or 8. Conrad and Berengaria never consummated the marriage for the obvious reason that Berengaria was still a young child, and it would never be, as Conrad was assassinated before Berengaria grew. She was next married to Alfonso IX of Leon when she was around 18 and he was around 10 years older. Alfonso had a son and 2 daughters with his first wife, Teresa of Portugal. Berengaria and Alfonso had 2 sons and a daughter, Ferdinand III of Castile, Alfonso Lord of Molina, and Berengaria Latin Empress, along with a child that died young and one that became a nun. Pope Innocent III soon declared the marriage invalid on the grounds of consanguinity, meaning that Berengaria was too closely related to Alfonso. They tried for a papal dispensation as they wanted to stay together and managed to do so until 1204. The Pope did agree that their children would be legitimate, and Berengaria returned to Castile with her children that year. In 1214, her father died, and her mother was so devastated that she left arranging the funeral up to her eldest daughter, Berengaria. After her father's death, Berengaria's younger brother Enrique became King Enrique IV of Castile. He was only 10 years old, so Berengaria became his regent, as her mother died quickly after her father. However, Enrique soon died after a tile fell and hit him on the head. Berengaria inherited the throne of Castile from her childless younger brother. Her biggest and closest threat was her own ex-husband, Alfonso IX of Leon, who was her close male relative and also believed that he had a right to the Castilian throne. Berengaria was a very smart woman, so of course she had a plan. She wrote to Alfonso and asked if her son could come for a visit. Once her son was with her, she abdicated in his favor not even 3 months after she had ascended the throne. Though she was no longer ruling monarch, her son Ferdinand III valued her advice. Berengaria arranged his 2 marriages, orchestrated the signing of the Pact of Toro between her ex-husband and son, achieved the ratification of the Convention of Zafra, and arranged her daughter's marriage to John of Brienne. That last one is very important. John of Brienne was whom Alfonso had wanted to marry to his daughter with his first wife, Sancha, so Berengaria was bringing the possibility of ruling Leon closer to her son. Berengaria's biggest achievement was making her son the ruler of a new kingdom. Her ex-husband had left his kingdom to his 2 daughters, Sancha and Dulce, excluding her son from the succession. She met with the 2 queens' mother, and she agreed that her daughters would step aside for their half-brother for a sum of money. Wise as she was, Berengaria had essentially brought her son a kingdom without doing too much. The kings of Castile would go on to rule Leon until Spain was unified. Even then, Leon was still part of their kingdom. Berengaria ruled as regent for her son while he was in southern Spain fighting the Muslims during the Reconquista. Berengaria visited her son for the last time in 1245, then returned to Toledo, where she died on November 8, 1246, at around the age of 66. Her son died just 6 years later. Berengaria was buried in an abbey which she had patronized.